Like we had some rain last night, some needed rain, but I don't think that rain went to the States because it's so dry right now in Florida. But at whatever rate, we got some rain down here to keep this place a little cool. I was at the what is this here? The DNA launch last night. I went down there for a minute. So the booklet, Vision 217 and Beyond. And I think it was at the BOCP hall or some hall close to the PLP headquarters. And they're saying some good stuff in this vision plan. I don't know if it's something that you're probably going to have to download, but I went through it with a fine-tooth comb, found some issues in it that we'll talk with their candidates about. When we get their candidate on here, I need to get, I think, Rainslade, which is the candidate for national security. But I guess also Granville McCartney said he's going to be the national security minister also, because he wants to take a direct dealing with crime. So thought that was quite interesting. I said if I ever had anything to be involved in government, that would be a good post that you want to take, because if that's your main issue you got in your country, then I think that's a good role the Prime Minister should take to be able to fix some of these problems. You should take the mantle, because that's one of the most talked about issues right now in the country is crime, compared to previous governments or Prime Minister that just wanted to get the Ministry of Finance. So I thought that was a good thing that Granville McCartney decided to do. That stayed out of finance, gave someone who's more financial inclined to deal with it, and he decided to run with Ministry of National Security. So that shows you right away there that he wants to take the beast of the problem and try to solve it. So at any rate, they got some good ideas in this 2017. We'll be talking to that probably sometime next week as I get a few of their candidates on the show. I think Dr. Higgs will be coming on the show next week to talk education. And what's his name? Randy Butler, the Sky Bahamas Captain Randy Butler. He's going to be on also to talk about what he's going to be doing in South Beach and transportation and stuff like that. And we got some PLP scheduled to come on the show, including Kendall Major, Dr. Clark down there in St. Anne's, and trying to still get some high hitters in the PLP to come on down, like Bradley Roberts. I don't know what these guys are faring, but they don't want to come on and have a conversation. But next week also I'm going to dissect all three of the manifestos of all these parties and go through each one of them, I would say probably a day at a time, and really discuss if some of these plans are realistic, because you put all this stuff in a book, it all sounds all fascinating, but I don't see the foundation of any of these plans so far, so you can tell me how you're going to drive this plan home. I see more statements than actual actions. You could say you're going to do something, or make a statement about how you're going to do it, how you're going to get it done. That's the bigger picture. You just say whatever you want, but how are you going to do it? How are you going to make it manifest into something realistic? We had a discussion with Brent Simonet yesterday. Quite interesting conversation. More interesting on how the U.S. Embassy here in Nassau painted a picture of Brent. Say the guy is a nationalist. He really believes in the Bahamas, but he also is a good ally of the Bahamas. Furthermore, made Frederick Mitchell look like a communist almost. More or less that he's leaning in the direction of the Chinese. He's not good for the U.S. and not good for the Bahamas. So thought that was quite interesting. So Fred Mitchell, if you want to come on the show and give us your part and give us your take on, your role as Minister of Foreign Affairs and your interactions with the United States and the U.S. Embassy, that'll be awesome. We wouldn't have to take any questions if you don't want. But when you guys get these positions in this country, you feel like you're untouchable. You know, we got a lot of old rogue positions in this country that needs to be eradicated. To tell you the truth, I think there should be no such thing as a permanent secretary. Why have a permanent secretary, a parliamentary secretary, and a minister of the same agency? Doesn't make any sense. I think permanent secretaries that is a job that needs to be replaced. Actually, they just not even replace, just get rid of it. I think as a new prime minister comes into office, a position like a secretary of a ministry should be something that is appointed or nominated every 5 years. When a new prime minister comes in, he should bring that team in with him, because these guys in these permanent secretary positions, they get so content of doing things like the way they do it, and it's not good for business, because it's not the vision of the new government coming in. Those jobs should be replaced, and if those jobs are replaced, then there would be no need for a parliamentary secretary. Because if you get rid of the permanent secretary position, you could then put a parliamentary secretary over the ministry. And below that secretary position could be a director. But the permanent secretary, parliamentary secretary, and a minister is overkill. It's total overkill. Okay, you're gonna have your technocrats working in these agencies that are civil servants. But above them needs to, the prime minister needs to be able to bring in strong people with the best experience to bring the vision into these ministries, and get rid of these permanent secretaries that creates a lot of bias and push party politics of their party in power. They're not going to push the agency, etc., etc. I mean, the country's so small to be so backwards. Just a bunch of backwardness down here, and the backwardness is not bad for the people that are making money. So you got to understand, in an inefficient society, people make money. The people that have the businesses, they make money. There's no need to make your life more efficient if I'm charging you crazy prices, because there's a demand. Why bring the price down on fuel if people are going to the pumps buying it? Why bring the price down on grocery if people go into the shops and buy it? Why make BC more efficient if people are paying their light bill every month? Why reduce the fees at the banks if people are paying the fees and not complaining? Why fix anything if people are not complaining? So that boils down to your fundamental right that is guaranteed by the Bahamian Constitution. You have the right to petition. You have the right to make noise. You have the right to argue. One thing they say people do in America, and mostly white people they say, is that they complain. And they complain about everything. Complain. You go here in a business establishment and you buy something and you make a complaint, they look at you like, what you complaining for? You don't pay for that already. You ain't getting no refund. Try us next week or something. Come back tomorrow, or if you don't like it, order it again. But you ain't, we ain't getting you nothing. Some of them might give you the bird. So it's like we are so content on the way everything is. There's no need to agitate anything. They build me up. The builder builds a crappy house. Okay, I can just deal with it. You buy a car from some guy who bought a car from the U.S. with the frame old bent up and the car is driving twist. You can just deal with it. PEC gives you horrible service, you're going to deal with it. The phone company gives you crappy service, you're just going to deal with it. The roads are all screwed up every day, you're going to deal with it. Your kids are going to condemned schools, you're going to deal with it. You don't have enough police on the road, you're going to deal with it. Teachers are not performing, you're just going to deal with it. Prime Minister's making ridiculous promises, you're going to deal with it. Your MP promised you the moon, you don't ever see him, you're going to deal with it. When are you going to stop dealing with the nonsense and try to demand and agitate what you want? Because man, I've seen some of these rallies. I mean, I tell you the truth, boy, people in this country are really lost. They think Bahamians, some Bahamians think they're really on a different planet. You're on planet Earth. You are one of multiple countries in the world. You are the closest country in the Western Hemisphere, well, not the closest, but the closest in this region to the United States. The world is being destroyed around you through global warming, through wars, and yet we sit in this little tiny country without any care in the world on what's happening around the world, and we cannot solve little problems here. You can imagine if we would have to worry about a regional, a military conflict. Do these guys ever even think on that scale? Is the Defense Force even ready for a conflict in this region? But yet we don't even have to worry about a defense budget. We don't have to worry about creating an Air Force or a huge Navy or a big army, but we can't take care of some of the basic necessities in this country. And the bigger question is, can Bahamians sustain a global conflict? Not directly, but indirectly. What is the backup plan? Because we can't do much of anything right so far. We're not getting the poor people out of the poor. We're not creating a bigger middle class. We're not generating millionaires. And we don't have to worry about half of the things that other countries worry about, and we can't fix some of the basic things in the Bahamas. When you talk about the diaspora coming back home, forget it. Fellas, I'm staying abroad, man. We'll be right back after these messages. Real Talk Live today was brought to you by Super Wash, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Burger King, the Air Conditioning Depot, BTC. Stay with the company that connects every island, rock and key. Nationals, Workers Cooperative Credit Union, Virgo Car Rental, Water and Sewage Company, Starframe Windows, Bayman Brewery of Limited, Drink in Moderation, Wendy's, Marco's Pizza, Popeyes, Paisley Cosmetics, experience a Paisley difference. See you after these brief messages. Morning, and welcome back to Real Talk Live. We were attempting to get a hold of an interviewer I had in the States, but having some technical difficulties. So based on that, I'm going to allow the public to join in the conversation and call in the radio show today and talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. It's political season time now, so you can call in and voice your opinion on whatever you want to talk about. The phone line today is 341-6673. 341-6673. But I want to talk about some things anyhow as we discuss that. You know, we've been independent now for the last 40-something years. And in the last 40-something years, 25 years, you got 25 and 30. I would say 30 of the last 40 years was PLP government, and or even more, and 15 of the last several years was F&M government. You know, where do you see yourself today as a Bahamian under black leadership? Did you get any better? Did the country deteriorate under these last successive governments? Because when you really follow the money and you start peeling the skin back in this country, the same group of people own practically everything. And these same group of people were the same group of people that took power right after independence and ones that came thereafter, all interconnected. And yet these same group of people will tell you, will pull the race card on you, blame the white man, but they're running the country. You know, they're running the country. It's time to drop the blame and look at your brother's keeper that looks like you, same skin tone, maybe a little brown or a little lighter. These people running the country. So you can't blame, you can't point the finger anymore at the past government pre-independence or pre-67. You've been running the country for the last 40 years. And in a parliamentary system, it's one of the best systems around, where if the prime minister wants to do something good, this guy has the power to do whatever he wants with a stroke of a pen. Because he runs the cabinet, because most of the guys are going to vote in his favor, because as we've seen in these last 5 years, I ain't voting against that, or I ain't saying nothing because I don't want to lose my job. Or if you go against the wishes of the prime minister, you have to resign immediately. Immediately, you have to resign. So it's almost time that we have to look at this type of government system we have and say, listen, man, we need some adjustments. But the bigger question is, how could we look at this system when the people in the country don't understand the system? When the education department says, okay, social studies will be an elective in high school, an elective. So you can decide whether or not you want to learn about the government. You can take religious knowledge instead. Religious knowledge, you could learn about the Bible instead. Or take home ec, or woodwork, or Junkanoo, or something. But you don't need to really know about the government. And then when you go to UB, learning about the government is still an elective and not mandatory. It's like, when are we going to get it together on some of the basic things that we need to push this country forward? I just don't understand it. And then, you know, we talk about the fact that we have 3 branches of government. So we have the judicial, the executive, and the legislature. So really and truly, when you boil all that down, you really have one branch of government, because you got the PM is the executive. The PM controls the legislature when he has the majority of votes in Parliament, and he has a Gussie May cabinet. So that just, you just got rid of the legislation, because now these guys, they don't think outside the box. I don't even know why they go to debate when they already came in with a decision. What you debating for? You wasting time. You might as well shut Parliament down and go in the constituency and go work. Go clean the streets or something. Because what you debating for when the decision's already made? It's just useless to even hear the opposition talk, because the decisions are made. You can't block the vote. It doesn't make any sense. Now, what we could do to fix the legislature is that we make it a requirement to have For anything that's going to be passed, you need the minimum of 3/4%. 3/4, 75% or more. Or you could say 2/3. I'll let the people decide that. We either want 66% or we want 75% on any bills that will be passed. This is where the opposition have to take be a part of the decision. And you will have, at that point, real debates. Because now the PM cannot convolute the legislature. That's all. Just change that one policy. Not 51, not 50 plus 1, but 66% or 75% of the legislature will be needed to pass anything in the House. Then you will have real debates. But the 50 plus 1, forget it. It's a waste of time. Because the ruling party will always have 50 plus 1. In some cases, they'll never have 66% or 75%. And that's how it's done abroad in the US. You need 2/3 majority in the House and the Senate to pass anything. 50 plus 1, you would never, the opposition in America would be weak if you would only have 50 plus 1. And that's how they do it here. Now, if they were teaching us high caliber math in school, we would know 50 plus 1 is not it's a majority, but not a real majority. Now, you want 50 plus 1 to run a company. Because when you got 50 plus 1, you're able to dominate and do everything. Okay, but 50 plus 1 in the legislature, not good for business. So the PM is the executive. He's the enforcer. Okay? The Prime Minister party now in this system owns the legislature because they got 50 plus 1. Then the judicial branch, which is supposed to be the third branch of the government in the Bahamas, is non-existent. And let me tell you why I say it's non-existent. Because when the Prime Minister is able to appoint, I don't care all those little rubber stamping things they have to go through for some ratification, that's all nonsense. The bottom line, if the PM wants this justice, that judge, that Chief Justice, it's a done deal. They might have to go through and get a couple stamps here and there, but that's all fluff and pump. The Prime Minister gets to appoint all these guys for 5-year limits or whatever their tenure is. But the problem is that when a law is created, the law is created in Parliament. Okay? Already stamped, sealed, and delivered in Parliament without any interpretation from the court. That is senseless. The way it works in a different jurisdiction, I'll give you an example so I can come back to show you why the judicial branch has no teeth. A bill or petition can start from a constituent. Let's go that route. Starts from the constituents. That's when you know the constituents are really interacting in government, is when they put petitions forward on something that they want. Joe Schmo, constituent Bahamian citizen, sends a petition to his member of parliament. Member of parliament then takes that petition and takes it to the House, Parliament. They then discuss that petition. If that petition is approved and these guys like it, and it gets approved, in this system you only need 50 plus 1, and then would get drafted into a bill. Oh, well, actually, no. Let me take that back. I'm using a different jurisdiction. So let's take a look at the U.S. for example. A petition is started by a citizen. The citizen takes it to his congressman. Congressman then takes it to the House. If it gets 2/3 majority in the House, it then goes to the Senate. If it gets 2/3 majority in the Senate, it then goes to the president. If the president likes it, he can sign off on it, or he can veto it. But let's say he signs off on it. He signs off on it, then it goes to the judiciary. It goes to the judiciary at that point for them to look at it to ensure it is not unconstitutional. And there is nothing in this law that about to be passed that will be detrimental to its citizens. If the judiciary realize that it's an unconstitutional law, they can strike it down. And when they strike it down, it goes right back to the House for revision. In the Bahamas, it doesn't work like that, because the judiciary does not intercept the bill before the bill becomes law. Therefore, you have a weak judiciary. You have a judiciary with no teeth. And I would like one of these former Chief Justices to call in or come on the show to discuss how weak they really are. They have no teeth. Why pass a law without the experts at the Supreme Court level to look at that law and see if there's any problems with that law before you put that law in the books? That's the problem. And this is the reason why we don't have to become a republic, but we can tweak our system to make it work a little more fluid. Now, let's go back to the jurisdiction in the U.S. So the judiciary rejects that policy, rejects the law. It's not a law yet because it didn't go to the judiciary yet. So let's find a law that goes all the way through. Joe Schmo, petitioner, sends it to his congressman, takes it to the House, get 2/3 majority, goes to the Senate, get 2/3 majority, goes to the president, gets it approved, goes to the judiciary, they agree on it, sign it, comes back to the president for final approval. And then boom, it becomes law. And the president is the executive branch, so he has to enforce that law. That law gets passed down now to all 50 states. Let's look at a way of conflict. Petitioner sends a petition to the congressman. He takes it to the House. It doesn't get 2/3 majority. It's dead. Petitioner sends it to the House. He gets 2/3 majority. It goes to the Senate. The Senate rejects it. Send it back to the House. The House tries again to get 3/4 majority rule to override the Senate. He overrides the Senate, goes to the president vetoes it. Say, no, we ain't on your run. It gets sent back to the House. Now the House needs 3/4 vote in the House and the Senate to override the president. Then it goes to the judiciary. The judiciary likes it, it becomes law. So I'm showing you how each branch effectively check and balance each other. The way it will work in the Bahamas is, goes to your MP, who's a part of the government party. He takes it to the House, it gets approved. And bang, that's it. Sends it to the judiciary, say, hey, you all need to enforce this. Now, if it comes from the opposition in this country, as soon as he brings the bill, it gets shut down. Ain't nobody on your run. This ain't your government. You had your last 5 years. We ain't into that. And it could be an awesome bill. I mean, it could be an awesome thing that will benefit the Bahamas. It could be something like, hey, this is how we're going to make all Bahamians millionaires. No, boy, we ain't letting you get the glam and glitter for that. Use of this and use of that. We ain't doing that. Bang. And these are some of the issues we're facing in this country. The redundancy, the issues of not being able to work properly in this country for the betterment of citizens. It's almost like a lot of the politicians are there to make themselves look good. And then, sometimes I see that some of the things they do are so blatant that they don't even care. Maybe the DNA may win the government, and they say they can put a lot of people in jail. Well, the FNM can win the government, and Omar Archer say people going to jail. These guys don't check for that, because why? They know ain't nobody going to jail. They know it's a buddy-buddy system. So why worry? And then I see these people at the rallies. Alcohol has been sold at the rallies. Beer, food, people getting drunk, people are dancing and screaming, oh, it's red, it's yellow, it's Gold Rush, it's red, it's green. And the rallies have no substance whatsoever. The whole conversation is, Perry's sleeping. We can put him in retirement. He can have a whole lot of time to sleep. Menace can't talk. Brave Davis can't go to America. This one have a problem. That one have a problem. Bro, what are you going to do to make my life any better? What are you going to do to solve crime? Keith Bell say, give us another 5 years and we'll continue to solve crime. DNA say, vote for me and I can hang them. The FNM say, We can look at it holistically. Sound like the F&M wants to have a colon cleanse on crime. Let's look at it from an holistic approach. Sound like you have to take a tablet and clean your colon out. That's what it sounds like. Or some laxative is gonna just cure everything. But these fellas don't have any real ideas, and that's the staggering problem. There's no real ideas for what they want to do. It's almost like they're all journalists, even though they're lawyers. They say things to grab sound bites, or the sound bites grab the people's attention. Boy, that sound good, eh? Brown will say you can hang. Keith Bell said, get him 5 more years and he can solve crime. F&M say we can take it on a holistic approach, take some milk thistle and clean the colon out. So it's like, what's going on? This is 2017. There's no major change that's been going on. The government seems like they like to do everything last minute in the last few weeks of the 5-year term and run with that to show their success. But what you've been doing for the last 4 years, 10 months? What you been doing? But yet the whole country's busy right now. I mean, Fred Mitchell finished that Foxell Park. Them fellas working 24 hours. Some of them fellas been on the park for 4 years and 11 months with no job. 1 month before the election, they're working 24 hours a day. Put a pool in there, built the place blue, put a huge wall with barbed wires on it. Now, why would you put barbed wires on a public park, on a public pool? Who are you trying to keep out of there? The constituents? Yeah, why, Fred? Why do you have a pool with barbed wires over the wall? To keep who out? I thought that was a public pool. If you got to put a barbed wire there and you want someone, then put a security guard there. Give someone a job. I mean, what's up with the barbed wire? You don't need no barbed wire, Fred. And then you drive through Foxhall now and there's a bunch of heaps of trash all over the place because there's been a bulldozer at work cleaning up the place. Last minute thing again. It's just ridiculous. All these last minute things and people get caught up in the last minute charade. Oh, look what my MP's doing now. Last minute! We'll be right back after these breaks. Figure anything out? No? Welcome back to Real Talk Radio. I mean, Real Talk Live. We were working on some technicalities, but I think we got it all straightened out. I have my guests on the line finally, but before I bring them on the line, I just want to read something that I coined, and I actually published an article. Just on, as I was just observing the climax here, and what's going on our little tiny island. And as we see some of these politicians continue to make mistakes, I came up with this terminology called political second chance syndrome. And I'm going to read it off to you. Short piece. It says, political second chance syndrome is a sickness that plagues the system of government that allows leaders to continue to make mistakes without accountability for their actions. There can't be accountability and efficiency with leaders getting second chances after dismal failures in major sectors across the country. Leaders should not get a second chance. Political leaders need to be replaced immediately with new leaders that must be vetted by a panel to weed out the potential for future inefficiencies. If political leaders are suffering from this syndrome, then it breaches the ideology of democracy and it sets a bad precedent for the citizenry to see their political leaders unaccountable for their actions. Eradicating political second chance syndrome must be a top priority in any democracy to function properly. It is a direct matter of national security that the leaders be accountable and efficient. Unaccountability leads to inefficiency that will then lead to corrupt political leaders to destroy the foundation of democracy. This issue is one of the main issues that plagues so many developing states in the Americas and Africa. Leaders want to hold on to power when they are making dismal mistakes that continue to keep the country stagnant. When leaders make mistakes, there needs to be an oversight committee that can investigate the issue. These leaders should not be able to continue to govern like nothing happened. There must be zero tolerance, no second chance for dismal failures in major sectors across the country. Oversight panels at all levels should be able to identify and weed out those responsible for mismanagement and inefficiencies. For the mismanagement and inefficiencies of the country, political second chance syndrome undermines democracy, defying the highest principles to which democracy serves. And that, folks, just gave you a clear breakdown on people that are making major mistakes and want to continue to hold on to the mantle of government in any country, even in corporations. This could apply to anything. This could also apply to the workplace. If you have inefficient employees, you got to get rid of them. You have an inefficient government, you got to get rid of them. But don't get rid of, and the one that's coming in, make sure he's at least more efficient than the last. But at any rate, I have Mr. Howard Johnson, also known aka as Mr. Bamboozle, on the phone, and we're going to have a conversation with Howard, because Howard have lived in both districts. He's able to look from the outside looking in, the inside looking out, and we're going to have a conversation with him. Mr. Johnson, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. Very happy to be here. Very happy that you invited me on your show to talk about this very important topic. So I'm excited, to have it tonight, and I'm just very grateful for the opportunity to share my knowledge and expertise.
Now, Howard, many people would have known you due to your activities in the Bahamas, but for the people that don't know you, just give us a quick snapshot on who you are and where you came from.
Well, I'm a son of Detroit. I was born and raised up in the South. Spent my most formative years there on my schooling from preschool on the way up to 12th grade. And then I went on to college in the Army in Nassau. I matriculated there for a couple of years, going through the ministry for a while, and then I left to pursue higher education.
let's dig into that. When you left COB, what made you, when you finished your associate's degree, you started to work for the ministry. At that point in your young life, what made you wanted to pursue the next level of your education?
Growing up in Pakistan, if you didn't pursue higher education, you had two options down there. You're in a period, it's predominantly construction, or you go fishing. There's nothing wrong with those professions. I actually worked every summer for the 2 summers that I was in high school. And I worked with my uncle doing construction, and I can tell you without any shadow of a doubt that doing that hard labor, that reinforced my commitment that I was an academic, that I needed to go to college.
You didn't want to get you didn't want them hard hands, eh?
Yeah, that was it. But I wanted more. I grew up in a family. My mother was an educator. She just recently retired less than a year ago as a principal now. And so education was very important in the household. And very early on, I bought it the idea that I wanted to go as far as I could go in my pursuit of academic achievement. And so I wanted to go off to college. I looked around for the institute. I had it was a great job, a great training ground, wonderful co-workers, wonderful boss at the time who really pushed young people. And but I wanted more. I realized that the options were limited in the Bahamas for anyone who wanted to pursue higher education at the time. It was a university like it is now. And so if you wanted more academically, had to pursue higher education in Canada, the United States, or Europe. So, I decided that I wanted to come over to the United States and pursue higher education beyond COB.
So at that, but what for you? What was the climax in the country at that time before you made that decision?
There was a lot going on in the country. One of the unique things that really pushed me was the fact that at the time the government had introduced a scholarship loan program that opened up the ability to pursue higher education beyond the family members and the friends and the domestic people to the government system. And, at that time, thousands and thousands we're talking about 99 to 2000, and that's where the government of the day started this initiative. And literally hundreds of thousands of students are now able to live out their dream of achieving a university level education.
Right.
And with that opportunity being made available, I decided that was my ticket. That was my ticket to go above an associate degree level and to be able to achieve it and possibly expand my options in terms of seeking employment and getting better job opportunities abroad.
Now, was it a contractual thing you had to get into to get that scholarship? So your time at COB, what did you study when you was at COB?
While I was at COB, I did all things that I completed that degree that I did not graduate with time for my credit, and matriculated at the University of Florida, in Florida.
You went pretty far, man. You went all the way on the other side of the peninsula. So what made you wanted to study criminal justice at COB? I mean, that's something you always wanted to get into?
Yeah, I really, looking around, it's so amazing how some of the problems that we have in our country, you know, the social problems, we might see them at increased levels today, but the foundation of what those problems are, they've existed for a long time. So crime is always a problem, and I was always interested in the study of crime and criminal behavior. You know, my major was law and criminal justice. And to be honest with you, my intent initially was to go to England and read law.
Well,
And go to university there, but
you wanted to add to the lawyers in the country.
yeah, exactly. But what happened was I had a wonderful criminal justice lecturer because Stevenson, Michael Stevenson taught me most of the law classes.
Yeah,
on that associate level.
Yeah, he's still there now.
Right, but he and Christina is the one who taught all of the criminal justice classes, and she was such a great lecturer, and she presented this thing, and she, you know, she sold it so well that there was a need for criminal justice practitioners, criminal justice personnel to come and help to fix the broken system in the Bahamas and the broken system wherever.
So even back then the system was broken.
Yes, people always say that I never was a crime. You know what the foundation is, the broken families. The Bahamas has always been a country that, I guess in the last 40 or so years that I've been alive, see unprecedented levels of single parent home.
Right.
You know, predominantly mothers in the home. And so we can really look at that as the origin and the foundation of where a lot of our social problems and our socio-economic problems would have stemmed from. And so you might say, oh, there were 140 murders a couple of years ago with a record book, and 15 years ago it was about 80 murders. But the fact is today, even though the numbers might be higher, the foundation and the core of the problem remains the same.
Exactly.
And so, these types of criminals was able to really guide me in the direction of going towards criminal justice as opposed to pursuing a law degree.
Right.
And that's why I decided to make the short trip over to Florida and do criminal justice at the undergrad level.
So when you went to Pensacola, that you would have finished then a bachelor's of science or bachelor of arts in criminal justice.
Yeah, I did a Bachelor of Arts in criminal justice, and I went directly into master's program
In criminal justice,
administration.
or public administration,
Public administration.
which is still closely tied to the field.
Yeah, closely tied to the field. And there was a master's degree in criminal justice at West Florida at the time.
Okay.
Naturally, the most closely related graduate program was public administration, but I focused on human resources management
Okay.
at that time. And, but after finishing that, I secured employment with Cambridge County in the Department of Corrections, working as a probation officer. So I utilized criminal justice degree.
Right. Because you landed you in probation.
Yeah.
But before you jump there, your time, how was that? You go to West Florida, in Pensacola, totally different from Fort Lauderdale, Miami. How was that? How was living? How was there a culture shock for you?
Yeah, I mean, because I spent a lot of time. I lived in South Florida. I lived in 3 strategic points in the state of Florida.
Right.
I lived on the left coast, which
The-
is Pensacola,
with-
extreme northwest.
Right.
I lived in the middle, which is Tampa,
Right.
on the west coast. And now I reside at the very bottom of the state.
On the East Coast.
Fort Lauderdale. Right. South Florida. So, you know, but Pensacola, I said all of that to say this. Pensacola is 13 minutes from the Alabama border.
Right.
So
Oh, I totally agree.
The running joke for the 4.5, almost 5 years that I was there, the running joke was that it was Pensacola, Alabama, rather than Pensacola, Florida.
Right.
And so and then the running joke was that UWF, which was the University of West Florida, was actually the University of White Folk. And so, it was a little bit of a culture shock
Right.
because having shared the demographics with Alabama pretty much, you didn't get the diversity and the feel of the cultural melting pot.
Right. Oh, we're running into a little difficulty. We'll reach back out to him real quick, but I see where he's coming from, and Pensacola is like from West Palm Beach. I mean, from Fort Lauderdale for most Damas that fly into Fort Lauderdale. Pensacola is about 250 miles north and another 100 and something miles west. It's way over there. I mean, if you look at Florida as an upside down L, well, it's all the way to the left. I mean, it's pretty far. It's practically on the on that borderline there. But being a Bahamian, leaving from a little island, and then you go to this big place called Pensacola, it definitely could be a shell shocker. So I think we got you back now, Howard.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah. So basically now you left Nassau, and you went over there, and you worked in Nassau a little bit in the Ministry of Youth, right? Explain the different jurisdiction or the different system on how you saw efficiency when you were living when you were in the U.S. at that time.
Well, yeah, as I said, the Ministry of Youth in North Carolina, the Ministry of Youth, particularly in the department where I was, we had a director at the time by the name of Walter.
Well, I wasn't really referring to the inefficiencies of the Ministry of Youth, but I'm just saying living in the Bahamas, just in general, comparing it to the U.S. of Pensacola.
Yeah, talking about that, I just, people are more accountable, and I can tell you this from living and working in both places. It seems as if the U.S. is a more progressive society. I mean, it's much older. It's a developed country versus the Bahamas being a developing country. And here in the United States, when you do your job, you have to be accountable because there's something called QA around the place. Okay, and quality assurance means that from time to time, your job is going to be audited.
Right.
The place where you work is going to be audited, and they're going to measure what you do, and if there are certain successful outcomes as a result of you doing your job, and relative to how it relates to the organization or the company or the place that you work. And if you're not performing, then you're going to have a problem. I think in the Bahamas, a lot of times, particularly in civil service, when you get the job from the MPC or cabinet minister can be there, or when you go to prime minister, you can actually some leaks or whatever, and so you have people who want the job who feel like, hey, I don't have to do much, I just have to show up because, I'm well connected.
Right.
And I do the bare minimum if anything. And so that's the difference. People are accountable, they're held accountable. And, I'm not saying this against anybody, but you can ask Joe Public in the Bahamas. What's your experience when you go to national insurance, when you go to road traffic? When you go to a lot of these government agencies, everybody's not like that. You have some people who go there and do their
Right.
because of the efficiency and effectiveness and smoothness and professionalism.
You think there's QA in the Bahamas, quality insurance?
Yeah. I'm not sure there might be in some places, but there again, you're talking about people who are also connected, might have gotten their jobs through, political favors, et cetera, et cetera. And so it's a cycle. It's a cycle, and it's pervasive throughout all strata and levels of, the organization throughout the hierarchy.
Now,
Whether you're, go ahead.
you would have been a part of that diaspora that would have went off, got educated, had a different experience. So funny, you talk about Alabama, we're talking about QA, quality assurance and accountability. Well, just take a look at the state of Alabama. The governor 2 days ago was put in jail pending impeachment and all. I mean, but just look at the tiny thing that he did. Well, corruption is corruption, but compared to what we see in the Bahamas, I think what he did, he misappropriated funds and kiss one gal and, and he has to resign from the government mansion and go into the state penitentiary. The entire ranking official in the state, that's probably over about 12 million people, that have a budget about 100 times the size of the Bahamas, goes to jail. And yet we can't even keep little government fellas in Nassau accountable for outrageous atrocities in some cases. And then, but people like to say, well, yeah, America's corrupt. But I've always said, that's the only place I see another governor just gone to jail, presidents get impeached, congressmen go to jail, the governor of Illinois going to jail for just selling Obama's seat, and he even didn't get the money. Blagojevich got 17 years. Yeah, that fellow with the nice hair, Blagojevich, I think he was either some Polish background, but goes to jail for 17 years for trying to sell a U.S. Senate seat that belonged to the former president of the United States. And we got things here in Nassau where the Bahama deal closed. With the VAT money gone. Okay? Nolly Prosecute. Who owned the business down there, owning store? I mean, this major conflict of interest. No accountability. Not a care in the world. You know?
When I go on social
Right.
Let's balance it out. Let's go to the F&M. There was an uproar about Dr. Minnis some years ago moving Heather Hunt and leaving Quincy Thompson in the Senate when he said he would rotate senators out in 2-year intervals. A lot of people were upset, but it wasn't illegal.
Right.
There was nothing wrong with it. You know, and so you can go on about these examples. You said Renato Curry missed so many days out of sitting in the House of Assembly during this 5-year period. Controversial, upsetting to some, but he did nothing illegal. So all of these things that are set up to be people that occupy offices in our land, people who are leaders. The issue isn't only that they are not conducting themselves in a manner that is appropriate.
We gotta hold that thought right quick, Howard. We're gonna hold that thought, and we're gonna pick up back on that on the break, because the system is broken. But also we gotta remember too, the people have to be part accountable, because the woman making noise about getting there 20 minutes and the line long, well, you had all year. You can show up in the 9th inning with 2 seconds left, and you can talk and tell you the Prime Minister you getting your vote today. We'll be right back after this break. Hang tight, Howard.
Business.
and we used it alive. So, I don't know what's going on live. Johnny from Alive. What's going on, man? There's a call over here. What's going on? Why can't I connect to the U.S. calls, Johnny? But at any rate, Iron, Lion, Zion, Iron. Awesome song there by Bob Marley. And, we're talking about things that are hitting the pulse of this country, but it's everybody has to play the role, man. Everybody has to play a role, and why I don't know when Bahamians can start playing the role and stop playing marbles, because just it doesn't have to be this way. I think that's the song, right? Just doesn't have to be this way. You used to live in the U.S. Let me speak to one of my disc jockeys inside here. All right, I think we got him back. Thanks for Alive. Thanks, Johnny, for putting that call through, buddy. Thank you. All right. Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, we were telling you, hold that thought that you were talking about. Just go ahead and pick up where you left off.
Yeah, I mean, what I basically was saying is that, and here's my business check. So when you say that, when I came into frontline politics, just some years, 6 or so years ago, I kind of flashed back. I realized when I got into frontline politics, as I started thinking around different South Africa, the first time I ran, moved around South, second time I ran, the very same issues and concerns that people had 2012, 2015, 2017 on their face were the same issues and the same concerns that people had, including myself, 15, 16, 17 years ago.
So the issues don't change then.
This is what I'm trying to say. And when you peel back the layers of that, the problem is the fact that our systems have remained the same. We're complaining about the same things that we were complaining about 15, 16, 17 years ago.
So then Howard.
We're complaining about the same thing.
So then Howard, if we're complaining about the same things and the things ain't fixing, so then why does the government keep changing?
Well, that's the thing, because the people are searching. We've had in history, when the government changed in 2002 and then in 2007 and 2012, and the changes again in 2017, all of these things, this has been unprecedented 4 times in a row that the government has changed after we returned to Muhammad.
But is that a positive thing or a negative thing?
I don't know if it's positive or negative thing. I don't know. For me, you're asking me, I'm going to say it's not a positive thing. It's not a positive thing because we don't have full transition of government. We don't have those periods of government where we don't have where the government is voted out of office today, and you have that buffer for 2 to 3 months where there is a seamless and streamlined handover of government. And I don't think we have the political majority in the Bahamas where you would have an outgoing minister of education or an outgoing MP.
Hello.
Down the person who's replacing them and say, hey, here's the transfer and handover of what we're doing, and you can pick what you want, decide what you like. That doesn't happen. So you can have a government for the last 5 years, an election, a new prime minister tonight, and 2 days later you have a new government. That's inefficient. That's
Right.
impractical. That doesn't work.
So basically what you're saying is that, just explain to the callers, because you would have more insight on this. So elections held on the 10th. When does the new government jump into office?
Within 2 to 3 days.
2 to 3 days.
Within 72 hours. Within 72 hours.
So they even give the fella a chance to take the toilet tissue out.
Yeah.
But let me ask you something, Howard, before that. since they have declared them out in 72 hours, what happens in that 72 hours? Do you know?
No, I'm not saying they have to. This is just a practice. This is how it's being practically done. Here again, we don't have any systems in place to say this is the time period where it should or shouldn't happen. So obviously, it has been the practice, and you can't blame anyone because the government taking over once you're on the clock. Once you bring that period, 5 years. Stop. So, they want to take over and they want to begin, work or whatever have you. So, that's what happened.
Excellent illustration. So basically, you're saying we need a cooling off. We need a proper transition. You see, because a lot of people say, okay, well, we got the permanent secretary, so even when the government's dissolved, elections over, the country's still running effectively. But you're saying that the switch over is impractical. Is not proper. Is what you're saying?
Well, the time period for the switch over.
Right.
The switch over is going to happen. The time period. Now, I studied public administration at the last level, so I understand it very clearly.
Right.
The permanent secretary is the person that does the change in the ministry. So
Right.
that has the appearance of continuity.
Right.
Say, okay, well, the guy who was really in charge of the ministry, he is there. She is there.
Right.
So they're not going anywhere, so that's not enough continuity because when you look at the permanent secretary in the grand scheme of things in a 5-year period of governance, the policies that are pushed, the policy agenda that is promulgated out from the executive branch of government, that's not the permanent secretary's baby, so to speak.
Right.
The
So
permanent secretary is just carrying that out. But it's the minister, it's the government of the day who is really controlling and putting forth what the policies and the initiatives are going to be, that are going to be executed. So the permanent secretary is just playing referee.
right.
Trying to say, okay, yeah, well, this is what you got to do. When the minister wants there, you go director and assistant director and this and that. Make sure that happens. But the permanent secretary is quiet.
We gonna take a call, Howard, and because this call is brought to you by BTC. All right, and we're gonna take this call. If we can't get it to you, I'm gonna tell you, or I'm gonna translate the question to you. But because we're trying something technical, because we're making this call to the U.S. But caller, go ahead. You're live. Brought to.
Good morning, Mr. Tinka.
Good morning.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, listen, I just wanted to say hi to Howard Johnson. How you doing? I know your mom very well.
Howard, can you hear that call?
Yes, I can hear it.
Okay, you can hear it. Awesome.
Yeah, I know your mom very well. I used to be her softball catcher at Darlene Smith Saunders. Emily Petty used to be the pitcher, and I coached for her for several years. I just want to say hello to you and to your family, and also nice to hear your voice. But back to you, Mr. Tinka.
Oh, back to me. Your voice sounds familiar. What's your name?
You don't know me.
I know your voice. What's your name? You used to call when Bodie used to be on the show.
Right. Well, I wanted to ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Where you just come from, Mr. Tinka?
I've been making the rounds, darling.
No, but I mean before this. I mean this stuff has been going on for a long time. It's never too late, I'm sure.
Well, you have to go. You have to go in Zion to be like a lion, and then come back in Zion. That's where I was.
Well, it's really so nice to have you back home because I mean, it seems like you're very surprised about all the stuff that is going on. This has been going on for such a long time.
But it's not even.
You just show up.
But it's not even to my surprise. It's the fact that people like you and other people travel abroad, have these experiences, but why don't invoke the change that you don't want your country to be better?
Of course, definitely. And what I definitely oppose is the fact that May 10th has been called for this election.
Right.
I mean, I don't understand. Why would you want to have election on May 10th when that's the day that we're mourning the situation with the flamingo with the fellas that was, I'm sure you heard about that. Yeah, I'm sure you heard about what happened on May 10th.
Right.
I mean, that is the day for us to sit back and reflect.
But let me ask you something. Is that an official day that was sanctioned by the government in the past?
I think that was the day that it actually happened on May 10th.
Well, I know, but did the country, did the government, any previous government, sanction that day as a holy day, as a memorial day, as a veteran day?
I think it has been sanctioned. It is not a holiday, but I think it has been sanctioned as a date for us to reflect.
Howard, do you know anything about that?
What's that?
Was May 10th ever sanctioned as a Memorial Day, a Veterans Day for the Sunken ship?
Not officially, not by an act of Parliament or anything, but it has been the practice that it has been observed.
Right.
It has been observed in memory of those who lost their lives.
So, ma'am, do you think this is a coincidence that the PLP decided to take May 10th on the day the Flamingo was sunken as an indication that they are a sinking ship?
No, I just find it quite Speaker, I just feel like that, you're supposed to be voting on that. This is a serious day to vote.
Right.
We don't want to combine the two.
So you think people are going to be on the voting polls mourning the loss of the Flamingo?
Yes, crying and reflecting back on the day and feeling sad and say, oh Lord, I mean, I don't understand. I just can't figure out the connection.
So, Mr. Christie, you better put some wipes, what you call those things, Howard?
Yeah, put some wipes
Put
down
some
Rolex
or what are those wipes called?
Really, man? It's really nice. And, it's nice to hear you. It's really nice to hear your show. And I was listening to you since 10 o'clock this morning. And it's a breath of fresh air.
Well, thank you.
And you don't seem biased.
Now let's kill that word seems. There's no bias because I don't owe anybody nothing, and ain't nobody don't owe me nothing.
But you remember the first time that you were here as a talk show host, and you haven't seen me for a long time,
right?
And you just came back. Well,
right.
we thought that they brought you off to keep you quiet.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you. I'll let me shed some light on that. As Howard could shed light on this too, because he got a part of that frustration. It's the fact that I don't think I got frustrated, but part of me coming back when I came back a year and a half ago was to actually feel for myself. Does the Bahamas one change in 2017? And I'll be honest with you. I don't feel it. That's why I didn't come back. I stopped coming back. I was still tuning in, and now I just figured I come back to play a part in the 2017 election, but through the mic.
But listen, now you're asking me how come I haven't made a change. I'm not a political scientist. I mean, you seem to be more knowledgeable about this stuff than I do.
Right.
So it's happy to have you back. Perhaps you should have come back a long time ago and view your, and share your light and your intelligence in this matter.
I was in Zion. I was trying to learn some stuff in Zion. That was the problem.
Well, I'm going to talk to some other callers there. It's nice to hear you.
Listen, thanks for calling in, please.
And I want to tell Howard, Howard, I love to hear your voice, and I like that Governor Saba accent you have there. Reminds me of home. And say hi to your mom for me, okay?
Thank you for calling. Howard, go ahead and you can respond to that.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you. Right.
If you don't go, man, you can call back. You got to take the last commercial break.
Well,
Yep.
well, Howard, the phone calls are ringing off for you. We got to take another break, and we will be right back, man. So don't go anywhere. We'll take this break and we'll be right back. Back to Real Talk Live. I got Howard Johnson, Mr. Bamboozle. 30 minutes away on the phone. Let's, Howard, we're going to take some phone calls and we can get back to our conversation. Go ahead. This call's been brought to you by BTC. Call you live. Morning. Good, brother.
And yeah, hey, are you getting your free warm on your global talk show?
Say that again?
I sent something that's going to be cut in the air. It's going to bring us his global views.
Howard, he's asking if you're going to bring the global views.
Oh. Are you going to have a talk show then? If wherever you are, and we have the right Wi-Fi, you can do a show.
Right. Howard say if you're going to participate in bringing your global views back to the Bahamas.
I'm no longer in politics, and the thing I left, I made it abundantly clear that I intend to disappear from the face of the earth. I plan to make a contribution in some other meaningful way. So maybe that's something I need to look at.
Or you can have someone like a singer and try to beat this dead horse. I think
Right.
Yesterday, right?
Right.
What did you think of the show?
Well, I thought he you know, and me and Howard had a conversation about that. I thought Brent Simonet, he was able to answer, you know, he answered some pretty controversial questions. Now,
Let me tell you what I think, right?
go ahead.
I think you just pulled teeth, right? But you gotta brush that sharp, slippery tongue you have a little harder.
But I guess it depends on what part of the of what teeth you want to be to pull, because I thought one of the big molars that he had.
It's fun with the tongue.
Yeah, but I thought one of the major questions that he would have overcame is the racist question.
I must give him credit though. He's compared to that year, he's very old. He's very the color of the show, and that's the president.
Right.
He's mine.
I mean, listen. I don't think you've ever went on a talk show before. So to come on a talk show and talk about the race card, talk about the fact that do you want to be a prime minister, the fact that did you give the DNA money, I thought that was pretty manly.
He's not a dumb man. He's very educated, as you can see. He's not. You can't put him in a corner because he would say he embellished the facts.
Right.
His style. But it even sound truthful. But
He sound truthful? You don't believe him?
Listen, see, you didn't get him good, right? He's very. Remember when Jeff was who owned the bank? What's the bank name?
Commonwealth Bank.
Bank. Who owned that?
He said he owned shares in it, but he didn't claim to be the owner.
It was owned by Nebraska, right?
Right.
Now his older brother ended up owning it. Bobby owned it.
Oh,
Bobby
okay.
was former Speaker of the House.
Okay.
Now his brother ended up owning it. So that man, Pop had two wives, two sets of children. Brett and his brother is the last two.
Oh, okay.
If you know the fact, ask your Grammy, but for you, you should ask your Grammy.
Well, I was trying to get into some other pertinent issues because, you know, we get caught up too much in history, which is important, but, you know, I was trying to get some other things out of him, but you raised some good points.
Bobby owned all of the insurance and the bank.
And the bank?
Yes. Commonwealth Bank. Some of you end up with most of the shares, but see, Pop was the premier, Bobby Speaker of the House.
Right.
You know, maybe Brett will be Speaker of the House now.
He won't be Speaker of the House now, but Speaker of the House can give him what?
Remember now, he's very, he good on words.
But, you know, Howard draw a good illustration yesterday. Howard, give that discussion that we were talking about yesterday when you heard Brent Simonet conversation.
Which part?
The part of the fact that who was really in the background running the government at that time.
Yeah, I mean, my views on it, because I listened to the entire show, and I'm speaking from second-hand experience because I would not have been around back in those days. But my grandfather, two of my grandfathers, knew Dr. Roland Simonet personally. My paternal grandfather, my dad's father, worked for Pop Simonet building roads in Lucha and in Nassau. And my mother's father,
give mom and papa. Listen now, listen right now. Okay.
Let me finish my point. He said that Pope Simeon had the leadership of the UPP and the leadership of the God, and he got painted with the paintbrush because he was the head. And rightly so, but the real power behind the throne, who was really racist, according to my grandfather, was the Stafford man.
But listen.
So Roman was really the figurehead.
But listen, they all self-enrich themselves. They give us, they give mom and papa flour, rice, sugar, and they got the land. How they get all that fried with
but you see, but you see, Robert, look at this, Robert. That was 50-something years ago. The black fella's been running the country for 40-something years. Who's still taking the sugar? Who's taking the sugar and the flour now? The sugar, the flour, the eggs, the bird, the pig feet, the tail, the sheep tongue, the steak, the filet mignon. I mean, they're taking everything. They're taking the whole hog.
Yeah, I see you right, but listen, we should have made them give up some of the land and our property. Mama, them couldn't read and write, you know.
Man, listen, Robert, these successive governments in the Bahamas using olive oil, and they telling us cook with shortening. And shortening killing us. They tell us cook with lard. Lard killing you. But listen, Robert, I'm out of time, man. I can talk to you again.
All right.
Thank you.
Hey. When is December the 7th, 1941? What's that date?
Tell me.
December 7th, Pearl Harbor Day. That's when the U.S. had.
That's when they bombed Pearl Harbor.
What when
I love Pearl Harbor. Pearl Harbor. Some harbor. Robert, I gotta run, man. I gotta run. I'll talk to you again.
And then the U.S. nuke who?
Japan.
Yes, because of that day, December the 7th.
Right.
All right.
Call brought to you by BTC. Call you live.
Yes, good day, how are you?
Good.
That's good. I don't know if anybody clarified why it's a big commotion about May 10th and the Defense Force. Because what is happening is that the family members normally, they have a celebration, they have a ceremony down at the Defense Force base where all the Marines, they get in pomp and pageantry with the National Security Minister and the Junior Minister, and they know this.
Right.
So all of a sudden you're going to have something where it's already on the books, where they is going to have a ceremony to commemorate and honor these men on the Flamingo, on the HMBS Flamingo. That's what the promotion is all about.
So what do you think about the elections on the 10th? I mean, what if as you as a citizen?
They could have had it before.
All right, so you're against that then?
Yeah, because the persons on the Defense Force, they look forward to honoring their comrades. This is a big deal for them.
So if this is probably one of the most, I wouldn't say one of the most significant things, but probably very significant for the Defense Force, why not make it an official holiday if it's such a big deal?
Well, I don't know.
I mean, in the U.S. they got Memorial Day for the dead veterans, and they got Veterans Day for the living guys. Do we have a Memorial Day or Veterans Day here?
Yes, we have in November.
Or Remembrance Day?
Remembrance Day, we have it at the Senator downtown.
So then, why can't that significant day be remembered on significance or whatever day it is? What day it is again?
See, there's a Remembrance Day.
Right, but why can't May 10th? Why can't May 10th be remembered on Remembrance Day?
Well, I think it's a conflict with, I don't know how it gets to be Remembrance Day in November, but yeah, they're doing something for the Marines in May. Okay?
Howard, why they? You know, you're more ingrained in these things. Why Remembrance Day is Remembrance Day, and why is it in November?
Because the people in Remembrance Day, they were.
Hold on a second, caller.
World War I and World War II fighters.
Oh, but World War II. Well, hold on one second, caller. Howard, I'm just all screwed up on my dates now. When's Memorial Day? Memorial Day is in May, right?
No, it's in November.
No, in the U.S. In
May.
In May.
The last Monday in May.
The last Monday in May. So the last Monday in May, and the U.S. they use Memorial Day because they actually fought in World War I, World War II, Vietnam War, etc. And why you all celebrate Remembrance Day in November?
Because I don't know, it's for the veterans that fight in World War One and World War Two.
Yeah, but did we kill some people in November or something?
I don't know. That's something that we go through in history.
Hey, listen, we need to look at we need to look at the significance of November to see if our soldiers, our Marines, shot some people in November to make a Remembrance Day on the amount of casualties or people they killed in November.
Point taken.
But I see where you're coming from about the May 10th thing. I think if the knocking down of the flamingo was, if it's so sentimental, that should be a holiday. That should be a holiday because that would be the most significant thing that the Defense Force would have done besides arresting Haitians on the high seas.
Yeah, like I said, the ministers them know, the Minister of National Security, and they know because they always go down there and lay a wreath at the cornerstone down to the Defense Force Base.
But have they done anything for the families?
Well, back then I think they have done something.
But
the Cuban government has done something for the families also.
But we still remembering these people, so as long as the mother's alive, they should continue to get some money. What do you think?
Yeah, they should.
They getting anything?
I can't say that.
All right, brother. Thanks for the call. So Howard, as you see again, people are using this May 10th. What's your take on the May 10th situation? Right. So you're saying all them old advisors who sleeping with the prime, who when the prime minister fall asleep, they sleeping too. All of them need to be fired. All of them. But Loretta's the leader of the opposition, Loretta's the leader of the opposition. She ain't say nothing yet. Did she say anything? Right. I'm gonna. We need to call Bradley Roberts. We should call Bradley Roberts. Let's call Bradley Roberts and ask him what the problem is. Why did he do this? Hey, could we call Bradley Roberts? You don't want to call Bradley Roberts? Right. So who would you fire? Yeah, but okay. If you're the PM, who would you fire? You think you'd fire the chairman of the party? Oh, that's right. He's elected. Damn. I'd suspend the chairman. I think he can fire none of your old buddies because they ain't helping him sleep.
but yeah, because this should not be an issue. What they should be doing now, 28 days before January 10th,
Right.
we should be discussing issues that are important to the people.
But Howard, they don't discuss the issues. Howard, listen, they don't discuss the issues. They go to the rallies for Julian Believe, KB, Lil Jukamuck, Juk, Stab 'em Up guy, all these rappers they got. Hey, they're partying on social media, talking who got the biggest crowd. What crowd is the biggest? Boy, look here. Yeah, for them can wave this because they got a big crowd. Then the PLP, boy, that's a gold rush. There's a river of gold. And the DNA is just green all over the place. There's leprechauns everywhere. So, I don't think, Howard, I don't think people ever see the issues. I think they just get, I think the rallies is an undercover black voodoo magic that just brainwashed them all. What do you think? Right. You know what, Howard? I think you hit a good point there because, you know, most of the pirates would have been Irish. Irish and Scottish. And when you look at these names in the Bahamas, these last names, Fitzgerald, that's an Irish name. Fitzpatrick, Thompson, Kelly, all these are Irish names. So you're saying the reckless pirates would have juiced up some Africans, spread down this gene into these people, and all they want to do is party and carry on.
Well, I know if it's biological. I think it's more mental than psychological, but here's a greater point.
Right.
The greater point is this. You're not going to eradicate the party and the wrong with rallies and all of that stuff.
You could, Howard, you just make it illegal.
Right, what I'm saying is, well, I know that's the freedom of expression in my view.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. You have to balance it with something else.
Right.
You have other forums that are substantive, that really speak to the issues like going town hall and whatever you have to do to let the candidates express themselves or whatever. But you're not going to tell them the party. You're not going to tell them the rallies and the little grill and chill. It's not going to happen.
I know, I always see these grill and chills. I know, I always see these grill and chills and they just grilling food, but I don't think the people are chilling. The people ain't chill. The people just come to grab the food and they gone. So just a grill and go. But ain't nobody chilling. I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. But I think we use all these different things to just lose the people in what these new governments are trying to push, because why do I have to give you a grill and chill? Why do I have to give you a rally with drinks and alcohol to tell you what I'm trying to do for you? The message is disguised. The message is totally disguised.
Well, you make a good point, but even further to that point, the fact that the message is disguised and the ultimate goal is, okay, hey, I got to make a message. This is what I have to do.
Right.
At the back end of that, there's a long term of you're hurting the country.
Right.
You're hurting the country because there's a total exclusivity on partying and drinking is wrong. In 28 days, somebody turns out a form of government and leaves.
Exactly. Exactly. Partying and drinking. Right.
I'm allowing people who are in my campaign to go around and do these nasty things, right?
Right.
When I become the government, or when I become a part of the government, you are already created the one thing to candidate.
Right.
You think now, your candidate is going to be on a
Right.
everything else you did for the last 28 days, and then all of a sudden they become sanitized, and are now honorable people voting out the candidate.
You know that exactly. Create a monster who's going in there, who's been drinking and partying, and he going there to clean up house. But But listen, we're
that month is going to be a month.
exactly. We're clear out of time, man. Just give your closing remarks in 10 seconds. We gotta do this with you again because we had some technical difficulties, but we figured it out. Just give your closing statements to the country, Howard.
Well, I've been going for a while now. I did leave for personal family reasons, which it really was. Some people use that as a cover for other.
You made that clear.
And I challenge anybody who will come up with any alternative rumor-based garbage to challenge me on that. But I'm really happy because you have brought me back out from behind the shadows where I've been for the last 7 months by choice. Because, I've been really frustrated at the way I've been treated and I've been handled based on the decision that I had to make.
Right.
And for a while, I was very angry. I don't realize that I have a consequence to my country. I know that my life is guided by God, and He is the ultimate decider and over of my life. But for me personally, I believe in the Constitution. In other words, I personally, if I have to exercise my freedom, I'm not going to follow it.
Awesome.
But I would like to continue to make a contribution to my country, and any small but meaningful way that I can moving forward, I'm going to make that contribution. But I appreciate everybody who supported me over the years as a political candidate, as Mr. Bamboozle, South Beach, Central and South New York, and throughout the late rest of the Bahamas. I was only in politics for a short time, but I appreciate everybody who showed everyone supported me and encouraged me during that period of my life and during my political journey. And God bless you and God bless the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Awesome, Howard. Listen, I'm gonna have to make you a staple on the show during this high intensity of during the election time. But I'm gonna definitely reach out to you again. I'm gonna go take my JetBlue flight now to see if I can get. Well, I ain't gonna ask for tea now because the tea was early this morning. But I'm definitely gonna try to get a bottled water or a Coke. But listen, Howard, thanks for your contribution. Another awesome show today. Our Real Talk Live was brought to you today by Super Wash, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Burger King, the Air Conditioning Depot, BTC, Stay With The Company, The Rocks Every Island and Key, National Workers Cooperative Credit Union, Virgo Car Rental, Water and Sewage Corporation, Storm Free Windows, Bahamian Brewery Limited, Drink in Moderation, Wendy's, Marco's Pizza, Popeyes, Paisley Cosmetic Edition. Real Talk will be hosted by Mr. Weatherford tomorrow, because I'm heading out today. Thanks for listening this week. Next week, have a whole host of guests lined up. Enjoy your holiday on Friday and your holiday on Monday, and we'll be back with another awesome show.